What's going on, guys? You've read the title, right? Today, we're going to be talking about the Sega Dreamcast. Now, to me, the Dreamcast is a really underrated console, even though the popularity has been growing in recent years. For any of you who don't know, the Dreamcast was Sega's last home console, released in 1999, 99 here in the US, 1998, I believe, in Japan. To me, this system, for as small as it is, as much as it didn't get the publicity it should have once the PlayStation 2 was released, this is still one heck of a system. It has so many great games on it, and a lot of arcade ports on this system are considered definitive versions, such as Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the Capcom vs. SNK games, and a lot of other games I'm going to show you in a little bit. Now, things that are interesting about the Dreamcast is it was the first 128-bit system to hit the market. It also was one of the first systems, if not the first system, to be packed with a modem. That's because early on, the Dreamcast was very big for its online gaming play, with Phantasy Star Online, Alien Front Online. A lot of their sports games, I believe, had online modes to them. It was just a really ahead of its time system. The one downfall for the Dreamcast was the fact that it used a proprietary disc called the GD-ROM, which, as many companies were moving towards DVD-based systems, such as the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, which allowed for higher storage, Sega limited themselves to a 1 gigabyte disc, which in turn, because this couldn't play DVDs, was ultimately its downfall once the PlayStation 2 was released. Now, it's definitely one thing Sega could have done different, and the Dreamcast was also very notorious for being able to pirate games for. Now, I don't really want to get into that because I'm more of a physical collector, but if you guys look it up, you'll figure it out. Now, one of the other interesting things about the Dreamcast is the controller. It's a very interesting looking controller. However, personally, I think it fits well in the hand. If you look at it, noticing mine's a little yellow, it needs to definitely be cleaned up. It's old. It is very reminiscent of the original Xbox controller, which I'm pretty sure Microsoft definitely took the idea for. Now, the Dreamcast memory card is the VMU. It's a visual memory unit. You used to be able to, certain games would allow you to put mini games onto this VMU, and you could play them on the go. Now, the battery life for the VMU is not good at all. Probably be dead within a week. It uses a watch battery. I think it's a CR2032. But yeah, they die very quickly. However, the concept itself was really good. Now, let me show you some games that I definitely think are must-own for the Dreamcast. Well, first off, we're going to start off with the game I just finished my review on, and that's Grandia 2, an RPG for the Dreamcast published by Ubisoft. Definitely, the definitive versions on the Dreamcast did come out on the PS2. However, the PS2 version got like terrible ratings, but the Dreamcast version got like 9.5s. So definitely pick it up on the Dreamcast. Also, hold on, before we continue this, Dreamcast was also one of the first systems to offer 480p in its video, and that was done through a VGA cable, which everyone might know as a PC type of connector, which is interesting. I only recently got my VGA cable when I started playing this Dreamcast again, because my Dreamcast had a faulty GD-ROM drive, which I had to replace, and since doing that, I've really had no trouble playing games. And I'm very happy with that, because the reason I really didn't start my Dreamcast collection or add to it was because my GD-ROM drive really didn't want to play discs at all. It was bad. That's why my Dreamcast kind of just, stuck on the shelf. But when you would play games in VGA, pretty much the colors look better, the definition's better, everything looks sharper. It's definitely the right way to play the Dreamcast if you have the ability to play it in VGA mode. Now, back to the games. I mentioned Grandia 2, but then everyone's probably favorite RPG on this system. You have your opinion, I have mine, but this is the one everyone always told me to pick up, was Skies of Arcadia. This game, it's like a air pirate-based RPG. Very in-depth story. It's 2 discs. It's a beautiful game. It's definitely going to take a bunch of time to beat. Now then, one of the launch games for the Dreamcast, and everyone already knows about this one, and that's Sonic Adventure. This was Sonic's first foray into 3D on a mainstay way in an adventure game, not counting Sonic 3D Blast, because why would I? And after the Saturn didn't have a Sonic game, the fact that this was a launch title, at least in North America, definitely helped the system out. Then you have Jet Set Radio, or Jet Grind Radio here in the States. Now this game, you basically are a bunch of rebellious teens and you're going around to graffiti stuff to claim your turf. Fun game, one of my favorites. We're going to move on to Shenmue. Now, Shenmue is one of the killer apps for the Dreamcast. The graphics are amazing. In this game, if you guys haven't seen my review, you basically play as a guy who witnesses your father murdered before your very eyes in the beginning of the game, and you're out for revenge. And the game still doesn't have a conclusive ending to the story, and Shenmue 3 is going to be coming out soon, and I look forward to that. Now, the next 3 games I'm going to show you are import games, because as easy as it is to pirate the games for the Dreamcast, it's just as easy to play imports. All you really need to do is put a game shark or an action replay in, and it bypasses all the region encoding. First game is going to be Fire Pro Wrestling D. Now, this game, to this day, is a really hard wrestling game, but it's a wrestling game that everyone who's played it loves. If you're into pro wrestling, I would definitely say check this out. All the menus and stuff are in Japanese, and the game is a little hard to play control-wise because the difficulty is really up there. But once you get the hang of everything, it's really, really cool. Next game is Rented Hero number 1. Now, this was a remake of a Sega Genesis game, which I wish would have got released in North America, because it's mostly in Japanese also, but pretty much in this game, you come across like a superhero suit, and it makes you a superhero, but you're basically renting it, because every so often to continue using the suit, you have to like pay off a debt to allow you to use it. It's interesting, it's cool. Graphic-wise, it still really holds up. It's a really fun game. If you can figure out and get into it, I would definitely say check out a walkthrough for that one, because you're definitely going to need to understand the text dialogue. Now, the last game I'm going to show you guys is a Japanese version of Resident Evil Code Veronica. It's called Biohazard Code Veronica. The reason I picked up the Japanese version is, one, it comes with this really, really cool sleeve. And it's a 2-disc game. As you can tell right there, it's Resident Evil. And most of the menus are actually in English, so it's very, very playable in its Japanese form. I just really wanted to pick this up because of the cool case to it, which I know is a little sentimental, but, you know, it wasn't really that expensive. So, Dreamcast also, and I don't have really any of the games because they're getting up there in price right now, it was a slew of arcade-based gaming ports because Sega used its basically Naomi hardware in the Dreamcast, so it was very easy to bring games over. Games like Power Stone 1 and 2. Games like the Marvel vs. Capcom series, which the definitive versions are on the Dreamcast, and I'm pretty sure the tournament versions are still played on the Dreamcast at tournaments. Now, the Dreamcast, to me, as much as it only had about a 2-year lifespan, it had so much more potential. It could have been given so much more. Imagine if it had that 6-year lifespan, what games we would have got on the Dreamcast. And I think it would have been phenomenal. Later on in the Dreamcast lifespan, this modem, which is detachable, became a broadband adapter if you wanted to buy one, which allowed for high-speed gameplay. Recently, the Dreamcast, in the form of the Dream Pi, has been able to get a lot of their old games that have been offline for years back online, which is really cool because now people are going back and playing Phantasy Star Online again. They're playing Alien Front Online again. They're playing, I guess, Tetris or other games online. Little by little, these servers are coming back up because the source code's getting released. So, if you guys, you've never had a Dreamcast, I definitely say pick one up now. They're still decent in price, and I think they're only going to start going up in price because the games are getting more noticeable now than ever before. It's definitely an awesome system to check out, guys. If only it lived longer. I know there's a lot of Dreamcast fanboys out there, and I'm one of them. So leave your comments below what you thought of the Sega Dreamcast, what you think it was fully capable of, and what you think would have happened had the system been able to basically live a lot longer, and if Sega didn't run out of money to basically keep pushing it. Guys, that's the Sega Dreamcast. Definitely go check this one out. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time.